Hello, friends. Today, I am going to continue reading this. I left a bookmark in here, and I'm very glad I did because I never would have remembered this at all. Also, for those who might remember my old videos where I had um, an oracle deck that I had a few cards that they had just plopped right out. So I was slowly reading them. I think there was one more, and I left it out of the deck until like last year, where I put it back in because I had to move a bunch of times. So I might go back and look and see what card it was so that I can bring it back out and do stuff. Anyway, chapter 12. And I do not remember anyone's voices that I gave them, so I'm probably going to give them whatever voices I can think of and then go from there. All right. A young woman with curly black hair crouches under a window in a darkened room. She's wearing a tan camouflage uniform and a dull metal helmet, and has an assault rifle gripped firmly in one hand. The gun looks ludicrously out of place against her small frame. It doesn't take an expert to see that she's not very comfortable with it. That's Samira, thinks Tak. This is her memory. Next to her is a young man, maybe 20, smoking a cigarette. His helmet is lying on the ground, revealing a lumpy head, shaved military close. He is also wearing a uniform, but it's not quite the same. The patches are different, the colors slightly more muted. The two of them speak in low tones, and while Tak can't hear what they're saying, he sees Samira smiling in a way he remembers well. She's clearly into this guy, and Tak is surprised to find that this realization makes him jealous. It happens. Jealousy also is not a bad feeling to have. It's a feeling that you can look at and express. Anyway, other senses start to filter in now. The dull hum of a generator from somewhere outside, the mingled smells of stale water and human shit. He glances around and is surprised to see soldiers everywhere. A few are crouched against the walls like Samira, on edge and jumpy, while others lie down with rags stretched over their eyes, trying to steal a few minutes of sleep. One group in the corner huddles around the light of a dying flashlight and plays cards. A barrel-chested man with a southern accent wanders slowly from soldier to soldier, sometimes putting a hand on a shoulder, occasionally saying a few words. At one point, he reaches into his pocket and hands a man a cigarette. That's the leader. That's the leader, the sergeant or lieutenant or whatever the hell he is. They like him a lot. I bet they're used to dying for him. The memory shimmers for a second, wobbling in and out of existence. Tak thinks it's going to go away entirely, but then the reality of the thing asserts itself, and he's back in the darkened room, under the window. Samira laughs quietly, a beautiful sound in the night. It's hot here, almost unbearably so, but she seems perfectly comfortable. The man next to her is telling a story with a grin on his face, occasionally moving his hands back and forth in the air like he's pulling taffy. Tak sees how Samira is enjoying his tale and feels another pang of jealousy, this one stronger than before. Hey man, tough titty. You had your chance. You could have stayed with her, but you went to Japan to be a TV star, then vanished off the grid. Got no one to blame but yourself. The male soldier leans in close, and for a second, Talk thinks that he's going to kiss her, but he just cups his hand around her ear and whispers something that causes Samira to collapse in a fit of giggles. She tries to get herself under control, but one laugh sneaks out as a braying bark, incredibly loud in the tension of the desert night. A few soldiers look over at the sound, then shake their heads and return to whatever they were doing. Talk can see that they don't think very highly of Samira, and at first he assumes it's a gender thing. But then he thinks about her long hair and her different uniform and realizes that it's more complicated than that. These people are Marines, all part of the same unit. She's not. She's something else. It's not that they don't like her, they just haven't learned to trust her. The young man next to Samira leans against the window with his head poking over the bottom of the frame. Ooh, there's a bee. Anyway, it's a fat bumblebee. It's so cute. It's so cute. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it's adorable. Okay. The young man next to Samira leans against the window with his head poking over the bottom of the frame. She notices this and makes a small motion with her hand. But before she can say more than a couple of words, a loud bang rings out, and the top of the soldier's head is torn off. It happens so fast. Talk assumes at first that the memory is skipping around. One moment, Samira is young and beautiful and giggling at a bad joke, and the next, she's covered in a thick red syrup. The other soldiers leap up and grab their weapons, moving toward the window as one. Noise and confusion ring out on all sides, men screaming at one another, the metallic click of magazines being slammed home into rifles, someone behind him yelling into a radio. The dead man slumps back against the wall with his mouth open, as if he can't quite believe what just happened to him. Samira doesn't move. She just crouches in place with a blank expression on her face until one of the Marines shoves her roughly to the side. The leader presses his back against the wall and yells a command. At his voice, the soldiers, almost 20 in all, pop over the sill of the window and begin firing into the darkness. The sound is deafening in that small place, and combined with the rapid blast of muzzle flashes, Talk finds himself growing disoriented. His only thought is to locate Samira, but all he can see are brilliant pops of white and yellow light. He stumbles forward with the sounds of gunfire and screaming overwhelming his ears, but then the memory warbles once more and finally collapses in on itself. A teenage boy is lying on a battered couch in a wood-paneled basement. Leaning her head against his stomach is a girl of the same age. The boy has dark black hair and almond-shaped eyes, and sports a tiny soul patch at the bottom of his chin. The girl is chattering on about something, but there's no sound to be heard. One of the boy's hands dangles off the side of the couch, but the other is held in midair, as if trying to figure out where to go. That's me, thinks Samira suddenly. What the hell? That's me and Talk. This is my house. Am I time traveling? She knows what her basement is supposed to look like, but it's not quite complete. The television should be across from the couch, but instead there's just a dull white blur. The desk where her father kept his PC should be in the corner, but all she sees is a kind of fuzzy light. The only things that are clear are the couch, its occupants, and a series of photographs hung on the wall behind them. Photographs of her mother. This is a memory, but it's not mine. It's Talk's. I think that's why things are missing. It's because he's not focused on them right now. Sound begins to return to her ears, and Samira can suddenly hear herself talking. At first, the words are stretched and distorted, running far slower than her lips are moving. But then there's another little hitch, and time catches up with itself. Was high, she hears herself say. He was totally high, and he was just standing there, like waving his arms around and staring at them. So, of course, Hillary thought that was the funniest thing ever. And she starts laughing, and then I start laughing. And you know how when I laugh, I just can't stop? So we're both sitting there laughing. Then Kelly is like, dudes, this is not cool. But it was just like, holy crap. Did I used to talk like that? Really? I had no idea. Oh my gosh, Talk, I totally wish you were there. Things just aren't the same when you're not around. Promise me you'll come next time, okay? Swear it on your dad's immortal Irish soul or something. Talk makes a noise of assent at this, but nothing more. Samira can see that he's nervous as hell, but can't possibly imagine why. She doesn't even remember this day. It was just one of 1,000 different evenings spent in her basement with the two of them talking about nothing. He takes his free hand and slowly moves it to the space just above her mane of curly hair, then withdraws it again. The expression on his face is one of complete disgust at his own cowardice. Oh my God. I think he's trying to work up the nerve to touch me. That happens. The Samira on the couch is totally unaware of the hormonal drama playing out behind her. She continues chattering away about her friend Hillary and the day they spent at the lake and whatever other nonsense pops into her mind. Occasionally, her head shifts against Talk's stomach, and he tenses, once even producing a sharp intake of breath. But of course, she notices none of this. There's a sudden noise nearby, a familiar creaking of old wooden stairs. Samira bolts upright and grabs the channel changer, while Talk pulls his hands back into his body as if they were on springs. The white blur where the television should be suddenly becomes an actual television as the power is turned on, and Talk focuses all of his concentration on it. Dad, oh God, Dad, it's you. Ahmed Moheb finishes his descent and peers into the room. There is a cup of hot tea in his hand and an unlit cigarette perched between his first and second finger. He glances from his daughter to her friend and back again, saying nothing for the longest time. Hey, Dad, says Samira cheerfully. How was work? Ahmed continues to stare at Talk, who responds by curling his lips inside his mouth and waving the tips of his fingers. Hello, Takahiro, says Ahmed finally. I did not know you were here. Hi, Mr. Moheb, says Talk quickly. A small bead of sweat pops from his forehead and shimmers in the television glow. It's good to see you again. How's the ice cream business? Ahmed makes a face like he smells something sour, a move that causes Talk to shrink even farther back into the couch. My business is fine, thank you. he says after another lengthy pause. Are you planning to stay here long, Takahiro? No, I mean, well, not, I can leave whenever. Dad! Yells Samira from the corner of the couch. Don't be a jerk and call him Tak. No one calls him Takahiro. She puts air quotes around this word and emphasizes every syllable, creating a hilarious imitation of her father's precise English pronunciation. Says Ahmed by way of response. Yes, well, I think I will go upstairs and finish my tea. Bye, Dad! Good night, Samira. Goodbye, Takahiro. Goodbye, Mr. Moheb. It was great to, talk to you. Ahmed turns and ascends the stairs again, one slow step at a time. Tak and Samira sit in silence and listen to his footsteps as he crosses the kitchen floor and opens the sliding glass door to the deck. Once they hear him step outside, Tak exhales and slips off the couch, creating a little puddle of himself on the floor. You're an idiot, Samira giggles. Jesus, your dad scares the fuck out of me. I'm waiting for the day he brains me with a shovel and buries me in the backyard. He likes you. No, he doesn't. He wants to kill me. He's convinced I'm trying to get in your pants. Yeah, well, aren't you? Asks Samira with a sly smile. She can see Tak working up the nerve to say something further, trying to decide between a witty response and just opening his heart and letting everything pour out. But then the memory warbles with renewed strength. The couch, the people, the pictures on the wall, everything dissolves into a blurry mash of images and sounds, piling one on top of the other until they become a thick white soup of nothing. I can't believe I said that to him. Neither can I. Tak? Hey, Sam. Where are we? We're in the machine. What's going on? Why can I see your memories? It's time travel. That's just how it works. Usually you only see your own memories, but since we use the machine at the same time, everything is mashing together. How long will this last? Depends. New memories kind of come and go, so it could be any. Samira lies in bed and sobs. She hasn't slept for days. The fan in the air conditioner has a slight imperfection, and each time it spins, it scrapes against the side of the housing and makes a small squeaking sound. But the imperfection is just that the squeak is never the same. Sometimes it comes twice in a second, sometimes it waits for a minute or more. She can't sleep with that noise. It isn't regular enough. It isn't consistent. It reminds her of terrible things, and so she lies in her bed and sobs until her throat is raw. Tak grabs a ledge in front of him and heaves himself onto the bank of the river. His body is shaking and blue from cold. Below him, a torrential stream of water flows away and toward the horizon. He lies on his back, shivering uncontrollably, then flips over and begins crawling toward a nearby grove of trees. Upon reaching them, he grabs a patch of thick green moss and turns to face the waterproof video camera he holds in his left hand. Old man's beard, he says through chattering teeth. Best fire starter there is. A man in a New England Patriots t-shirt and dirty gray slacks runs towards the gate, shoving his way through a long line of young men waiting to apply for the new police force. Allahu Akbar, screams the man. Allah Akbar. A soldier raises his rifle and fires off 3 rounds, striking the man in the middle of the forehead. As he falls, he releases a button that was held in his left hand. The world explodes. The man's head goes spiraling off in the air as a massive orange cloud transforms the line of stunned applicants into a dirty red mist. Tuck stares at a massive set of blueprints mounted on a wall and tries to wrap his mind around what he's seeing. To his right, a woman with long red hair absent-mindedly clicks a ballpoint pen. "What is this thing again?" he asks. "It's a dark matter accelerator," replies the woman. "With enough power, we can use it to create a stable Einstein-Rosen bridge." "Am I supposed to know what any of that means?" asks Tuck as he walks up to the blueprint and crinkles his forehead. "Because I don't. You don't need to understand how it works. You just need to use it." Tuck holds Samira's face in his hands and kisses her. Her eyes fly open in surprise, but as the kiss continues, they slowly close. She grabs a tuft of his spiky hair and digs her fingers into it. Her other hand flutters slightly in the air, then finds one of his and entangles itself with it. When they part, she finds her whole body is shaking. "My dad's gonna kill you," she manages to say. "Bonsai," says Tuck. Samira opens her eyes. She is lying on her back on a patch of tall brown grass. Above her, the twisted branches of dead trees interlock in random patterns, preventing all but the smallest rays of sunlight from filtering through. She blinks once, twice, a third time. Her stomach is a knot, and her head is spinning. Turning to the side, she sees a familiar face staring at her. "Did we make it?" she asks quietly. "Are we out of the machine?" "Yeah," says Tuck. "We made it." Bonsai. There you go. I love this book. It is so good. It is so good. It is beautiful. Ugh. It's fucked, but it's good. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.